Hi, this is Krisha Young, and this is the Dirt and the Divine. This is the podcast where we say what needs to be said. And if you're watching on YouTube, this podcast is available on YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see an amazing backdrop here. This is the view from my place. And I thought, you know what? I shall sacrifice the good lighting here in order for you to be able to see this beautiful view behind me here as I share with you today a topic about going into looking at intuition damage. Okay, so this is a really important topic for women in general. This is something that we experience a lot of, and the kind of coaching that I do with women is I call it pattern release coaching for high performing women who are healing from self-betrayal. And self-betrayal, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? It's like when we're betraying ourselves, what happens is we don't feel good about ourselves. We start to feel really shitty, and just in general, we do not feel good about ourselves, right? And I know you know what I mean. I don't have to go into detail about that. And part of the self-betrayal that we experience is called intuition damage. And so intuition damage is basically where you are sacrificing that inner voice inside of you so that you don't rock the boat, so that you don't make waves, so that you don't reject someone or get rejected or whatnot. I know you know what voice I'm talking about, okay? It's that little one that comes up and says, maybe no, or even yes, and you ignore it. You ignore her, right? Because pretty much we have not been trained on how to listen to our intuition, and we have been told that listening to there's something wrong with listening to ourselves. We have been programmed and conditioned to pay attention to what everybody else outside of us thinks about us, and that they have some sort of authority over what we know best for ourselves. And this leads to a ton of intuition damage, a ton of self-harm. And ladies, I know you know what I am talking about, because we have all struggled with this for centuries now. And I bet you any money you're sitting there right now with some sort of internal sensation inside of you going, yeah, I know what she's talking about. Even if it's not front and center for you yet, or even if it is 100%, you can tell me like every time you betrayed yourself and every time you didn't listen to your intuition, right? Wherever you are on that spectrum, just know that listening to your intuition is key for living a joy-filled, happy, safe, and secure life for yourself. When you get to know who you are and what that voice is, the difference between intuition and fear. And I've got tons of other videos and podcasts and stuff like that about that topic as well. So when you start to learn the difference between those two elements within your own body and within your mind, right? When you're deciphering, wait a minute, is that fear telling me not to do something, or is that my intuition telling me not to do something, right? And it's a work in progress, and especially if you haven't listened to your intuition or it's been dormant for a really, really, really long time, right? When I first started this work years ago, I was like, okay, I really want to hear my intuition. I know I have it, but I don't know what it sounds like. I don't know, I'm not sure what it is. And I just started to pay attention and notice it. And then I started to follow it. And then I started to trust it, right? Because there's a very big difference between following your intuition and not trusting it, and following your intuition and trusting only that. And now I am at the point in my personal and spiritual development journey where I only listen to my intuition. And it is so on point. It is so on point now that it's almost impossible now for me to make any decision outside of that realm, right? Like there is zero people pleasing anymore. There's zero doing anything for anybody else because I'm afraid to rock the boat, or I'm afraid to offend someone or whatnot, right? Like all of that needed to be healed. And in order to heal that, there's certain things that I'm going to talk to you about here for you to take a look at and work on for yourself so that you can increase this superpower, because it's a freaking superpower we have. Like it is the most amazing superpower, actually, because what it does is it allows us to just be true to ourselves. And when we are true to ourselves, like I said, that is when we feel our most joyous, our most peaceful, our most calm, right? And I know that that is what you want more than anything, is to feel peaceful, calm, happy, right? And you can't achieve those things. You can't get to that place if you are constantly putting your needs second, if you are constantly batting away that little niggle inside of you, that little inner voice, if you are even half the time doing that, or even a quarter of the time doing that, right? Anytime you don't listen, you're betraying yourself. And that self-betrayal is very damaging to us. It destroys a little piece of us emotionally every single time. And ladies, I don't want you to feel this way, right? It's shitty to feel this way. And I want you to feel joyful and happy and strong and confident and powerful within yourself. That is my mission here, is to help you listen to you, trust yourself, and follow the golden nuggets of your own life, right? So I had a client that I was working with, and I'll share a little bit with you about what had come up. So she was realizing that, through our work together, that she was taking what she called taking down the veil of what she thought she needed to put together for everybody else. So she was like looking at, wait a minute, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Right. And so we just looked at it at a surface level at this point when she came into work with me. And what she was looking at was how she was doing her hair so that it wouldn't be out of place for other people. Right? She wanted to make sure that she looked a certain way for other people, not for herself. She used a certain type of makeup and dressed a certain way so that she would look neat and tidy and put together and all that kind of stuff for other people, right? There is nothing wrong with doing your hair and dressing beautifully when you're doing it for yourself, right? When you're wearing the clothes that make you feel amazing, when you're doing makeup in the way that feels really good to you, not because you're trying to cover something up, not because you're trying to, look a certain way to please anybody else. And this includes, your partner, it includes your friends, it includes even social media, your business, anything like that, right? Anything that we ever do that is to gain some sort of external validation or recognition is a form of self-betrayal. It's against our own inner knowing and inner desire of what we actually want. And the bigger issue that we have at play here, ladies, is that most women, and myself included back then when I first started this work, don't know what we want because of what I said at the beginning, we have been so programmed not to listen to ourselves that we have no idea what we want because the voice of the intuition has been silenced, right? So intuition isn't just like a red flag warning. I think we have this idea that intuition is just red flags, right? Like, ooh, that guy's no good, don't date him kind of thing. Don't go down that alley. That's instinct, right? Like, don't go down that alley, man. Like that's pretty creepy. Like there's ways in which intuition and instinct, whatever you want to call it, is there to absolutely keep us safe, right? However, did you know also that intuition is our heart's desires? Intuition is that thing that says, go here because it's going to make you feel good. Intuition is the thing that says, wear this dress because you know you look hot in it and it makes you feel amazing. And then what comes up after that is that voice that says, I'm too old for this. I can't wear this because I will be judged. Somebody will think I'm too fat in this or whatever, or I think I'm too fat in this or whatever it is. That voice is the voice of self-betrayal, okay? I'm hammering this in here because we really need to start paying attention to the different cast of characters that are in our mind, right? This is why they call me the mind unfucker, because this is what we do. We take a look at all the different, cast of characters that are living in your mind, telling you that you are not good enough. It is all lies. They are what I call the lies that feel like the truth, right? Because you might be looking at yourself in the mirror being like, I'm way too old to wear this thing, or I don't like how my body looks in this thing, or gosh, my hair, it needs to be cut and colored, or whatever it is, whatever the insecurities are that we have that are coming up by that voice. What that voice is doing is overriding our intuition that is saying, yeah, but you know what? We love this dress and who cares about our hair? Like, yeah, okay, we could probably, move our body a little bit more and feel a little better in our bodies, but we'll want to do it because we want to be healthy, not because we feel fat. Do you see what I mean? There's a difference between these things. And the more you don't listen to that beautiful, gorgeous voice of your soul, of your heart, of your intuition, the more you are, creating intuition damage for yourself, right? So let's look at how else this shows up, right? Wearing a bra so that, she looked contained for a woman of her age. What? And the most important one here is watching what you say, watching your mouth to make sure what she's feeling or what you're feeling, maybe you're resonating with this, doesn't make the other person on the other end uncomfortable or you being too vulnerable with yourself. Now, let me ask you a question here, okay? If I didn't speak this truth to you right now, I would be doing a major disservice to you, okay? So you might find my delivery like too powerful or something. I don't know. Or you may love it. I have no idea how it's landing with you. And here's the thing, I don't care because, and I mean that in the most loving, compassionate way ever. Because if I cared, I would be instead sitting here going, oh, well, I can't say this and I can't say that. And, oh, well, I can't say it that way. I can't just free speak. I can't just speak from my heart, because if I speak from my heart, I might upset somebody. I might offend somebody. I might turn a woman away who could potentially have my help. And so what ends up happening is I either don't say anything, or it becomes so vanilla that you don't even, you're like, what's the message here? I don't even understand it, right? And so it was more important for me on my personal journey, and it's totally different for you, I'm sure, and my personal journey, to move aside any of these concerns that I had that what was coming out of my mouth was in some way, shape, or form going to harm or offend people, right? And the reason why I know it doesn't is because my head, my brain, and my heart are in coherence with one another. I am always coming from a place of integrity and heart, right? And that is what truth is, ladies. When we speak our truth, We're speaking it because it is coming from a deeper part of ourselves. There's a very big difference between being bitter, having expectations, being angry, manipulating, resentful, all that kind of stuff when we're vibrating at that level because we haven't healed our wounds and we haven't appreciated ourselves and we're not listening to our intuition, is when we become angry, bitter, like manipulative women. And then what comes out of our mouths is mean, ugly stuff. It might be the truth, but the delivery is what causes the harm. And it's self-harm and harm to others. However, when you can heal those parts and love on yourself, right? And walk through that mind unfucker process so that you can start to clear out all of these voices, right? And start to really connect to your heart and really feel into what's important to you. Why do you want to say what you have to say? Is it in integrity or is it coming from a pattern, right? Is it coming from because you want to hurt that person because you're hurt? Or is it coming from a place of wisdom and love and faith and trust that what you're about to say is going to help someone somewhere, right? Now, we can go down a rabbit hole of, solicited and unsolicited advice and all that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about here. We can save that for another episode. But I want to remind you that this episode is all about intuition damage. And when we are not speaking our truth, when we're not aligned between our mind and our hearts, when we are dressing for somebody else, when we are judging ourselves and doubting ourselves and creating all of these stories about ourselves or even other people, this is self-betrayal, right? And when we are not listening to the little desires that come up from our heart that say ice cream or walk or bath or sex or gardening or shopping or eat something healthy, right? There's small, tiny little golden nuggets that come up from somewhere inside of you. It all comes in different places for every woman. Every woman is different, okay? Most women, it comes from somewhere between the root chakra and the throat, okay? Somewhere in this region, generally, when I ask women, where does that voice come from? They generally say it's somewhere in between this section here between like the heart and the root, and usually in the gut. Sometimes it's in the solar plexus. It just depends on where it comes from you, right? For you. And what we want to do is hone that skill. We want to pay more attention to that part so that we can put us in alignment with our purpose and our hearts and our truth. And when we are in alignment with those things, we become really peaceful because we're no longer battling inside of us anymore, right? We're no longer fighting with our own selves in our own minds anymore. We're no longer betraying ourselves anymore. We're no longer causing intuition damage anymore because we're trusting ourselves. And from that self-trust comes a very deep and powerful individual. That's what I want for you. Now, if we look at a little bit more here, gosh, this is so, I remember being like this too. She didn't sing out loud. I didn't sing for the longest time. I was sing shamed in school. I had, my fellow classmates actually cringe and ask the teacher to have me removed from choir because my singing was quote unquote awful. And so what do you think something like that did to me and my speaking voice, let alone my singing voice, right? So we have these little tiny things that can stop us from being in our purpose. And those are the little tiny things that we need to heal, right? Pay attention to them, give them love, right? And just be like, you know what? that person has no hold on me anymore. And so, sing. Now there's another one that's actually very, very deep for women, very, very, very deep for women. And this is moaning. And moaning, when you eat delicious things or do delicious things or whatever, you're having a fun time or whatnot, because we have such a twisted relationship with sex and sexuality, if you see a woman in pleasure, which is exactly what we are specifically designed for, is to be in pleasure, that's joy. Joy and pleasure are the same thing. Joy and pleasure equal happiness. Joy and pleasure equal peace. Okay, inner peace. Do you see how it's all kind of coming together? It's all braiding together, right? So let's say you're having a piece of dark chocolate and it's so delicious and you're like, how awkward does that make you feel, right? I know for me, holy smokes, there's no way I would have made a noise like that in public, let alone in private. And I needed to learn how to use my throat chakra, how to use my voice to start making noises, right? And so I would encourage you, if singing or speaking or moaning or anything like that feels very awkward and makes you feel super tense inside your body, just know that it's so beyond even just your own personal experience. It is also a collective thing that women across the board have been silenced for, right? So we're clearing this out at a multi-generational level when we're clearing it out for ourselves, right? Backwards, forwards, all of it. So I encourage you to use that voice, use sound in some way, shape, or form. So if you are at home on your own, just sing, right? If you already do that, then take a risk and sing somewhere else out, like maybe when you're going out for a walk, maybe you can start humming. You can do Bija Mantras, which are the little sounds for each of the different chakras, right? So you can do the sound yum for your heart. Yum, 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 yum. And just make that sound in order to get your body used to, and your nervous system used to, making a sound out loud, especially in public. And the next time you're having a food you absolutely love and it is so freaking delicious, I want you to get lost in it. I want you to get lost in it. I don't want you thinking about how you're going to have to run, extra, and how many calories is in this thing. And oh my God, it's not going to fit your dress anymore. Fuck all of that. Okay. That is the nasty voice inside your head. That is the lie that feels like the truth. It's a lie. You are spectacular and amazing and gorgeous, even if you don't believe it yet. So next time you're sitting there and you're having this food that is amazing, give yourself a second and go, my God, that was so good. If you are in a relationship, a sexual relationship, and you feel safe in that relationship, start experimenting a little bit more in the bedroom too. Make a little bit more noise, and make sure that that noise comes from a place of truth within your body, right? Like only moan if you really are enjoying it, right? No faking of the orgasms here, ladies, okay? So one final thing I'll say to you is to elevate this even more is complimenting other women, right? This is also something that we don't do. And in my 5-day receiving challenge, I talk about this, okay? I talk about receiving, how us as women can start to receive. And that puts us on the path of goddess currency. And when we're on the path of goddess currency, what's happening is we are then opening ourselves up, opening our heart, and putting us on the path towards our purpose and creating that happiness and creating that inner peace. And paying a compliment to another gorgeous, beautiful woman, or just another woman in general, is huge, right? Because first of all, it will challenge her to receive that compliment and allow, this is one of the challenges that I have actually in the receiving challenge, is to compliment someone and see how they respond to it. If they reject it, now you know how it feels when you get a compliment and somebody rejects you, right? So it's a really fun one to play with, and I'll put the link for the receiving challenge in the show notes so that you can join. It's totally free and will blow your socks off and, you know, really just put you on the path of goddess currency. So a lot of this has to do with, what will people think of me? What, you know, am I going to be rejected? Am I going to hurt somebody's feelings? Is this appropriate for a woman my age? You know, it's all these questions that we're asking that don't actually make any kind of sense when you really think about them. And, you know, if you have a daughter, or imagine if you had a daughter and your daughter was like, I can't wear this because, you'd be like, what? That's crazy. You're beautiful. Why would you even think something like that about yourself, right? So we need to start talking to ourselves like that, giving ourselves the love and the compassion and the self-trust that we deserve in order for us to be able to feel confident, strong, and powerful, empowered women, goddesses. And so remember to pay attention, follow, and trust your intuition more and more and more each day, so that you can, you know, eliminate this like very, very tragic situation that we have amongst women called intuition damage, and start trusting yourself at a level that you've never trusted before, and watch as your life completely shifts and changes into one of joy, expansion, happiness, wholesomeness, and the inner peace that you've been seeking all along. My name is Krisha Young. I'm a mind unfucker and worthiness coach. I do this podcast, The Dirt and the Divine, in service to you. I also have a Facebook group, Bettering Your Relationships Now, where I go live every single Wednesday to discuss topics that are important to you and to enable you to better your relationship with yourself first and foremost, and to better your relationships with others as well. And my website is www.krishayoung.com, and on there I have tons of goodies for you, meditations and blog posts and this podcast and so many other amazing things are on that website for you. And I am also on Instagram at the Krisha Young, where I do reels and stories and occasionally Instagram posts when I remember. I am in service to you. I have gone through the fire. I have gone through the fire of the Phoenix Rising, and now I am here to demonstrate to you how to do it fast, how to do it efficiently, how to do it powerfully, and that you have permission to trust yourself. You have permission to love yourself. You have permission to be a freaking goddess, sexy and sexual. You have permission to speak your truth. You have permission to feel joyful. And no, it's not taking it away from anybody else. In fact, it's overflowing it. So you are no longer a depleted husk of a woman anymore. You are now so filled up, full of energy, full of joy, and full of the ability to be able to carry out your life's purpose that you've been here to do. I'm Krisha Young, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.